Princess Eugenie's father-in-law has thanked NHS staff for saving his life after he was left battling for his life in intensive care. Eugenie and husband Jack Brooksbank were told more than once to prepare for the worst when Jack's father George Brooksbank was put on a ventilator for 5 weeks after testing positive for coronavirus. However, he soon recovered and has an important message for the NHS staff that saved his life. George Brooksbank, 71, recovered from the life-threatening bout of coronavirus after fighting it for 9 weeks. After leaving ICU, he described his treatment as incredible. Princess Eugenie and the Brooksbank family were said to be relieved after he overcame the virus, and the retired chartered accountant and company director said he was making a good recovery. "The way I was treated was incredible. Nothing was too much trouble, and at no point did I get a sense of a shortage of doctors or nurses or any impression that the service was in any way overwhelmed. There was always somebody at hand. I want to offer profound thanks to everyone who was involved. It was a real eye-opener for somebody who has not been in hospital before for any length of time. I certainly owe them my life." Mr. Brooksbank, whose son Jack married the Queen's granddaughter in 2018, fell ill in mid-March after a trip to France and ended up being in hospital for 9 weeks, said a spokesman for Eugenie's mother Sarah, Duchess of York. He was on a ventilator for 5 weeks at the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital in London. After a tracheotomy, his condition gradually improved and he was moved to a ward at the Royal Brompton Hospital, which specialized in heart and lung conditions in people recovering from COVID-19. He then underwent a further period of rehabilitation at an institution in Roehampton. Mr. Brooksbank said he now felt absolutely fine, attributing his recovery to the several weeks of recuperation in hospital. Mr. Brooksbank's wife, who also contracted the disease but is recovering at home without hospital treatment. Nicola, 66, who lives in Wandsworth, South London with her husband, echoed his comments. She said, "Without doubt, they saved him, and we could not be more grateful. We were not able to see him throughout his treatment, and more than once we were told to expect the worst." Prince Charles, who is Eugenie's uncle, also tested positive for COVID-19 in March. He recently spoke out on his experience with the virus and the difficulties of loneliness. Having recently gone through the process of contracting this coronavirus, luckily with relatively mild symptoms, I now find myself on the other side of the illness, but still in no less a state of social distance and general isolation, the prince and heir to the throne, 71, said in a video message. "At such an unprecedented and anxious time in all our lives, my wife and I are thinking particularly of all those who have lost their loved ones in such very difficult and abnormal circumstances, and of those having to endure sickness, isolation and loneliness." Prince Charles and his wife Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, were forced to self-isolate apart after the former contracted the virus.